How's it going, everyone? College Lefty, and in this video I'm going to be going through an updated ranking for all of the team affinities within MLB The Show 21. I originally made this video, and now that I've collected all of these cards and beat Showdown several times and earned all of these cards, tried them all out, I figured I would give you all an updated ranking list. I received a lot of feedback on my previous video, and I wanted to make an additional video talking about some of the things that you guys are certainly right about, as well as talk about some of the projections that I made and why I made those. Now, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. One of those suggestions was to start with the card that's ranked last, or the card that I feel should be ranked last. So that's what we're going to do, go from least to best in this circumstance. And I think Jason Heyward is the worst one out of all of these. I still think that all these cards are good. I said that in the previous video, which makes them much more difficult to rank. I was also projecting these cards for how they used to play in MLB The Show, right? Going off of their previous year's swing, some of those things will change, and I noticed a lot of that as well when I was playing with them in MLB The Show 21. Patrick Corbin, still a decent lefty. I mean, lefties are hard to find, so he's ranked 29th rather than 30th. But Dansby Swanson's coming in at 28. I just think that there are a few better players in this program that you should go for in terms of middle infielders that have a little bit more power, and some of which I was incorrect on in ranking them the first time. And I want to reiterate that I'm not perfect. I'm going to be going through these cards and how I feel they play in MLB The Show 21 now. So David Fletcher at 27, Tim Anderson at 26. I think that this card, even though he doesn't have as good a fielding, he has more power, which would be a little bit better than David Fletcher. David Fletcher does have the swing, though, that I'm looking for. Salvador Perez was ranked much too high in my previous video, but that's also because I was basing that projection off of his swing in last year's game. They gave him a different swing this year. He doesn't have the quick two-handed swing. It's a little bit longer, and I don't necessarily like that card. I'd rather use someone like Yerman Mercedes or a different catcher like JT Realmuto, but that doesn't mean that he's not good. Ke'Bryan Hayes coming in at number 24. This card also has a different swing. Last year had a one-handed swing, kind of a high leg kick, but I tried him out a little bit. I did not necessarily like him as much as I like some of these other players on this list. Trent Grisham coming in at number 23. Not a bad card at all. I mean, he's got great speed. He's got great defense. I thought that, his hitting attributes, I thought he would play above his attributes a little bit more than he actually does. I haven't really had, too many at-bats with him, but I think there are better outfielders out there in terms of building your team around. Andrew McCutchen coming in at number 22. Definitely a solid card. I mean, all these cards are great. He doesn't have the same swing as he did in last year's game either, and that's why I have Ketel Marte ranked a little bit higher than him. Not as much power, but he does have a great swing. He does have the same swing, and he's also a switch hitter. So I think that he has a lot of value. I've won against this card, and he did pretty well against me. You also have to keep in mind that you can parallel these cards as well. So if you're thinking about that, that makes a little bit of a difference. I'm more or less talking about their base round and kind of how they'll play right now. Willy Adames at number 20, Jack Flaherty at number 19. I like all of these cards in general. I think, once again, they're all very good, which makes it difficult to rank these cards. I don't know if Jack Flaherty could be ranked higher. Of course, if you value pitching a little bit more, then he might be higher up on the list depending on what you like. Luis Castillo is a little bit more deceptive than Jack Flaherty, in my opinion, and I like this card a little bit more personally. I've always liked Luis Castillo in MLB The Show, and I think having that primary pitch at a changeup gives him a little bit more value. But Xander Bogart at 17, this card was probably ranked a little bit too high last time around. I think that he's very good. A lot of people like his finest card in last year's game. Obviously, this one does not have the live series quirks. I think I have to go with Bo Bichette, ranked one spot higher than him because of the increased fielding, because he's more of a complete player. And the way the game plays this year, you really do want complete players with good all-around attributes. You're not necessarily only looking for power. You're not necessarily only looking for one thing. You really want to try and balance your team out completely, especially if you're deciding on grinding for one of these players to build your squad around. Mike Istremski at 15, Herman Marquez at 14. I think that this card is pretty good. However, I think he's very easy to read. You may even have Jack Flaherty and Herman Marquez swapped, especially once you level them up. I mean, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say with some of these pitchers. I did miss out on one pitcher, though. It's not Jesus Luzardo. Jesus Luzardo, I felt like, was ranked somewhere in the middle of the pack. I think he's good. He's the best lefty that we have in this program in terms of pitchers, and I think lefties are still pretty effective. Dominic Smith coming in at number 12, also a lefty. This card has a very nice swing in MLB The Show 21. He kind of has a similar swing to David Ortiz, and I think I had him ranked a little bit too low, so I bumped him up a little bit. Framill Reyes ranked at number 11. I mean, this card is a complete hitter. He'll also have bronze defense in the outfield. His speed is pretty bad out there in the outfield. I would personally use that card as a bench bat, but I still think he has a lot of value for pinch hit home runs. Jose Berrios is coming in at number 10. I had this card ranked as the number 1 pitcher, and I might have been slightly off on that, but I don't think by very much. I think that both Jose Berrios and Sixto Sanchez are the 2 best pitchers in this thing. I had Sixto Sanchez ranked way too low. I completely underestimated this card, and I also didn't realize that he had outlier, which makes him a lot more valuable. And after trying him out, his motion is very smooth, so I do apologize for ranking him lower. I actually went for him pretty early on because of that outlier and that 100-mile-per-hour fastball and sinker. Giancarlo Stanton coming in at number 8, just an all-around good player who has a very similar swing to last year's game. Kesten Huira was a player that I also underestimated. This card, for me, his leg kick throws me off. The high leg kick is tough for me personally to time, and it's not the same for other players that have the two-handed swing, but I think that he's pretty good in general. A solid second baseman with a lot of power, of course. Also, another player moving from the middle of the pack in the previous video to the top 10. I mean, Kyle Lewis, he has a different swing, a much better and improved swing from last year's game. I did not like his high leg kick in last year's game either. One of the reasons why I had him ranked lower, even though he is a very good card. Max Muncie coming in at number 5. I think this card might be even higher than number 5, depending on what you're looking for. He could be even higher than Joey Gallo, because he plays, first base, second base, and third base. Anthony Santander, complete player all around, switch hitter with a good amount of power. If you level this card up and parallel him, he will be very good and also has, I think, the best swing out of this entire program. Joey Gallo coming in at number 3. He was ranked number 1 in my last one, but I think there's a much better hitter. He's more of a complete player. The only attribute he's lacking in his contact, and that is mainly based on user skill. Nico Goodrum bumped up 1 spot. I had him ranked 3, I believe, in the last video. This time he'll be ranked 2 just because I think he's one of the best complete players who plays literally every position on the field except for catcher and, of course, pitcher. But I really think that Yordan Alvarez is the best all-around hitter out of this entire program. He also has a really nice swing. Both Yordan Alvarez and Anthony Santander by far have the best swings out of this program. Max Muncie and Joey Gallo are right up there with those 2 players, but I really think that those are the best Team Affinity players to go for right away, and I wanted to give you an updated list. I hope you all enjoyed. Until next time, peace out.